Basim.
Citi 97.3. Accra.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi
News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon to you, and welcome to Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. The news is coming to you live from our studios here at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka here in Accra. My name is Ni Lati. This afternoon, I'm here with
Eno Safo.
And coming up, caterers under the school feeding program begin nationwide strike over government continuous refusal to settle arrears owed them and increase amount per student under the initiative.
Caterers have become worse than beggars and we are suffering. We have cried and talked plenty, but our appalling situation remains the same, and that is why we are declaring a nationwide strike.
More as the angry caterers drawn from across the country gather in the Ashanti region to express their frustrations. In this edition also, Ghana's long-term local currency issuer default rating sees a downgrade by international rating firm Fitch. Still ahead on City Prime News, former President John Dramani Mahama is asking Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu to step down over the many challenges that have plagued the running of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Ibia say a free so what they National Health Insurance, and I want to tell the minister, he himself has admitted that he has failed, because if he's not been able to grow the National Health Insurance and he says it has failed, then he has no business being the Minister of Health. He should resign.
And later in the bulletin, Chief Justice nominee Justice Gertrude Tokonu receives massive endorsement from the legal fraternity as President Akufo-Addo pens her as replacement for Chief Justice Kwesi Eni-Nyebo as head of Ghana's judiciary pending parliamentary approval.
See here as somebody who is strict and would uphold the law.
So give her and giving her experience, right? As far as justice that I haven't been within the system for a while, I think that she's a perfect fit. That's all.
All that and more on City Prime News, which is broadcasting not only in Accra but around the country on a number of affiliates: Premier FM 100.5 in Takoradi and Beach, 105.5 FM also in Takoradi, both in the Western region. If you are listening to us in the Bono region, this is Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyani, Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. In the Volta region, welcome to Akwini Radio 96.7 MHz in Kando and Heritage FM 107.3 FM in Hohoi. In the Northern region, we are live on Dasumat 99.1 FM in Yendi, Word FM 88.3 in Zwarungu. In the Upper East region, West Link 88.1 FM in Laura in the Upper West region, and Eagle FM 94.1 in Wale in the Northeast region. Around the world, we are live on citynewsroom.com, City 97.3 FM on Facebook, and CityTube on YouTube.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for joining us. This afternoon, let's begin from the Ashanti region, where caterers under the government school feeding program have declared a nationwide strike following the government's failure to pay them their arrears and increase the amount per child. The aggrieved caterers drawn from various regions across the country who converged in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, stressed that laying down their tools is the only option available to them now. Speaking at a press conference, the caterers lamented the harsh economic conditions they are facing and attributed it to the non-payment of the arrears. The leadership of the caterers has thus urged all members across the country to join the strike to impress on the government to address their concerns as early as possible. One of them is Gifty Asamoah addressing the media.
School feeding caterers are public servants like teachers, police, doctors, nurses, and other employees that provide state services to the public, but are being discriminated against. Can anyone just sack a teacher or a nurse? Can government refuse to pay teachers or nurses even for 1 month? Why are they doing the opposite when it comes to caterers? A contract is a contract, and our human rights must not be abused because we are caterers. Are we not human beings? Are we not citizens of Ghana? Are we not serving the nation? The conditions of services, payment and treatment of caterers by the school feeding secretariat, the Ministry of Finance and Government are deplorable. They have worsened our economic, social, and health situations. Caterers have become indebted to the traders and farmers we credited items from. The failure of government to pay caterers on time to increase the price of a hot nutrition meal from 97 pesos to a meaningful amount. The underpayment and various deductions and other items listed in our letter to the president are making caterers a laughing stock, impoverished and very miserable. Caterers have become worse than beggars and we are suffering. We have cried and talked plenty, but our appalling situation remains the same, and that is why we are declaring a nationwide strike until our condition of service, price of a meal, payment issues and treatment are addressed positively as per our 10 points in our letter to the president. So on this note, we are appealing to the government to give us the third term payment, so to give us money to go back to the kitchen. Without that money, we cannot go back to the kitchen because we don't have money. We don't have money. And the increment too, if we don't know how much the government is going to give to us, we cannot go back to the kitchen. We need to know.
Let's now take you to the Ashanti region now because our bureau chief for the Middle Belt, Edward Opomafo, joins us via telephone for more on this particular issue. Well, Eddie, it must be a difficult moment for these caterers demanding that they are paid the arrears owed them. Generally, what has been their reactions as far as government continuous refusal and failure to pay them is concerned?
So the caterers are basically worried, and this is an issue that they have been raising for some time now. If you recall, in the Ashanti region, for instance, these caterers have embarked on strike for the past 4 weeks. School resumed 4 weeks ago, but our checks at various schools indicate that they are still not working. And what appears to have added up kind of weight to what they are doing is the fact that now they are calling on all groups, that the various school feeding caterers across the country. So they have involved those in the Greater Accra region, Volta region, Central region, and all parts of the country. And so they have come together now. And they're also made up of other leadership, as the leadership of the Ghana National School Feeding Association. These caterers have come together and are urging all members to comply with their directive to embark on strike. And so that is what they're saying. They say that now it's a nationwide declaration, and it's not just limited to the Ashanti region, where they have refused to provide food for their students for the past 4 weeks. But this time around, they want all members to do same. They are insisting that it has to do with the fact that they have not been paid for some time now. And it differs. There are some who have not been paid since last term, the others since last 2 terms. Some have been saying that it's been for a very long time. They have been writing, they have been asked to write to the various groups and that the relevant authorities, and that they are going to be paid. But that has not been done. Aside from that, another major concern is that even if government agrees to pay them all the amount, the major concern is that the amount has to be increased. As it stands now, they are being paid 97 pesos per child. And so they say this amount is not an amount that they can use to prepare food that will be decent for the students. And so they want it to be increased to a minimum amount, although they have hinted that when they say a meaningful amount, the meaningful amount should be three Ghana cedis. But they are saying that they want government to also come in and just tell them that this is what we're offering you, and they will consider it as being a meaningful amount before they return to the classroom. That's it, before they return to the various schools to cook for them.
Well, do we know the scope in terms of, the form and shape this nationwide strike they have declared is going to be carried out?
And so they're saying it's effective immediately. And so all members are supposed to comply. And they're saying that they're looking at the fact that they have been given assurances over and over again, but that has not been done. They have not been paid. And they also feel that currently with the school feeding secretariat, the gender ministry, and other relevant stakeholders, they feel they are not playing their role as expected. And so they've been raising a number of concerns. They feel that with respect to how it used to be from 2017, a lot of things have changed and those things are not going well for them. And so they want the president in particular to pay attention to what is happening at the school feeding secretariat. They feel it's not being run properly. Even those times that they were being paid, the manner in which it is paid is a major issue. Some of them brought their the payments and all that. They claim that looking at the periods that they provide food to the students and even the amounts they are supposed to be given, at times those things are not calculated well. They feel that certain things are not done properly. At first, they used to receive alerts and they get to know how much they're going to receive, but those things have not been happening. And even this time, and what appears to be worse is the fact that they have not been receiving it at all. And it differs. Various people are saying that that the last batch are those who receive it for that's the last 2 terms. But from last term to this time, and even other people are saying, well, they've not been receiving it for a very long time, and so they want the government to see how urgent it is, and if this time around that they have come around to declare nationwide strike, if government does not heed to that, then they are going to embark on a nationwide demonstration, a massive one.
Main concern is our school feeding issues, because as I'm speaking to you, we started this school feeding as far 2017. You are speaking. The amount that they are issued to the per student is 97 pesos. My brother, look at the situation now. The increment of our items that we used to cook has been increased more than 100%. We are really feeling that they should give us the increments, because things that we used to cook the food has been increased more than 200%. If they don't respond to our issue, they will invite the commercial people, so they will come to Accra. We will continue our demonstration. Thank you very much.
Why are you planning to demonstrate?
Yes, if the government did not respond to our issues, we will plan and do demonstration. Well, as I'm speaking to you, we are on strike. We are
doing all these things to sensitize the government that we are not happy with the kind of things is going on in the secretariat. And so this is the second time of engaging in the media. We want to tell the government that if they refuse this time to give us our money and tell us something positive, we are going to do nationwide demonstration. We are going to strike heavily, the whole Ghana. We are going to do it.
You heard the organizer of the Ghana National School Feeding Caterers, Kwame Amankwa, and a leading member of the caterers group, Dorothy Ofori-Sapon, and who are threatening to embark on a nationwide demonstration if their issue is not addressed. Edward Oponmafo is still on the line. Well, Eddie, finally, the last time these caterers gathered in the Ashanti region, they were turned away by the regional minister. Today, as they gathered there again to lay out their concerns, have they had a word with authorities in the region?
So for now, the caterers are saying that with the press statement that they have come up with, they are going to present it to the president himself to ensure that he works on it, that he acts on the statement. And so if that is not done, that's where they will take their next line of action, which is the demonstration.
All right, very well, thank you. That's Citi News' Bureau Chief for the Middle Belt, Edward Oponmafo.
Away from the caterers, Fitch Ratings has lowered the long-term local currency issuer default rating of the nation to restricted default from CCC. This action was taken due to missed payments on certain local currency bonds issued before the domestic debt exchange program. Although last month, Ghana's LTLC IDR was upgraded to CCC from RD because of the successful completion of the local debt restructuring program in February 2023, the downgrade reflects missed payments on bonds that were not tendered or held by ineligible entities for participating in the domestic debt exchange. The government recently announced that it would resume payments on local currency bonds issued before the domestic debt exchange. However, only coupon payments on the 2-year note that matured on 20th February 2023 and the 20-year note maturing in 2039 have been paid, and the principal payment on the former note is still outstanding.
Now, the Ghana Association of Small-Scale Miners says the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining set up to clamp down on illegal mining failed at achieving its task. The association contends that the report released by the chairperson of the defunct committee, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, shows how the leadership flopped in the fight against Galamsey. Although the group says it is not surprised by details of the report, its General Secretary, Godwin Ama, said government also ought to investigate the claims.
No, I think that once this have come to the public notice, there's no way we say government will say they not look into it, because it will help the government itself to ensure that the fight against this illegal mining is sustained and it will get the support of all Ghanaians. If this document is looked and the names mentioned, they will go through some sort of investigation to ensure that either you clear the people or maybe they are corporate based on the allegations that. And if these allegations are not coming from just a mere person, it's the chairman of the interministerial committee himself who brought it. And he's also a strong member of the NPP government. So it's something that will be in the interest of the government to investigate and make sure Ghanaians get answers to it. The last I would say is, if you want the document, Professor Frimpong Boateng himself said he was the only man left, you understand, in the fight against the illegal man. But in leadership, a leadership prevents things from happening and makes things happen. A leader accepts responsibility in terms of failure. So Professor Frimpong Boateng alone cannot say he was the only person. It's a total failure, and as a leader, he should accept that the work that they did not go well at all.
Godwin Ama is the General Secretary of the Ghana Association of Small-Scale Miners.
The Deputy Ranking Member on the Lands and Forestry Committee of Parliament, Alhassan Suhini, wants the government to review the approach of mining in the country to deal with the menace of illegal mining. The lawmaker says the government must consider the medium-scale line of mining and deal with the bureaucracies and corrupt activities at the Minerals Commission in the acquisition of mining licenses as part of efforts towards fighting galamsey. Speaking to Citi News, the Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Alhassan Suhini, says government's approach in the fight against galamsey has not been the best.
Many of us have always said that the approach to this galamsey fight was wrong. You do not, first of all, need to use a one-size-fits-all approach, because there are different kinds of mining, and that is what people have not averted their minds to. There are different kinds of mining, and you will not be successful at fighting it if you use one single approach and expect that you'll be able to deal with all the different types of mining, even as they are, small scale or large scale or illegal. You need different approach for the different kinds of mining and the operation, the procedures that are being used in mining. Secondly, there's the issue of whether it is time or not for us to begin to look at the need to introduce medium-scale mining. Because what we have in this country are large-scale mining and then the small-scale mining. And the small-scale mining is to be reserved for, Ghanaians using simple implements. But we know that together with foreigners, they are beginning to use very complicated machinery in the small-scale mining, areas. Is it not time for us to begin to have the conversation around whether or not we should introduce the medium-scale mining? Again, there's the issue of corruption and, bureaucracy at the Minerals Commission involving the acquisition of licenses and all of that. We need to have a conversation to see how we can address all of that. And I think that based on this report, I support the calls for us to have an independent inquiry into, the matters that have been raised by Professor Frimpong Boateng.
You heard Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Alhassan Suhini. Away from that, former President John Dramani Mahama has called for the resignation of the Minister for Health over challenges with the National Health Insurance Scheme. Mr. Kwekwajiman Menu, during a Ghana Health Service senior managers meeting in Kumasi, noted that complaints from NHIS subscribers suggested that the scheme was not functioning. Speaking to constituency executives at Seshi Adobokrum in Bia East, Mr. Mahama said patients with NHIS are being turned away from health facilities because the government is not paying claims owed to the hospitals.
Bia say a free so much what they have national health insurance, and I want to tell the minister, he himself has admitted that he has failed. Because if he's not been able to grow the national health insurance and he says it has failed, then he has no business being the Minister of Health. He should resign. Because today, if you take the national health insurance card, you get nothing in the hospital. And most of the hospitals are turning the national health insurance card bearers away because they are not paying their claims. The whole of this year into last year, all the treatment that National Health Insurance gave to the card bearers, they have not been paid for it. And so how do you expect them to continue treating them? The minister must resign.
You heard former President John Mahama and an aspiring presidential candidate for the National Democratic Congress.
You are still listening to us here on the City Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM, coming to you live from our studios here at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Dabraka here in Accra. The bulletin is across the country on our partner stations around the world on citynewsroom.com. My name is Ni Latte here with Eno Safo. Still to come, Chief Justice nominee Justice Gertrude Tokonu receives massive endorsements from the legal fraternity as President Akufo-Addo pens her as replacement for Justice Kwesi Ninieboa as head of Ghana's judiciary pending parliamentary approval.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Listen up, people. There's good news for Airtel Tigo customers who haven't started and those who are yet to complete their SIM re-registration. Yes, good news. Complete your SIM re-registration and get free 5GB data voila! To browse, chat, Zoom, TikTok, Snap and do more on Airtel Tigo to change your world. If your SIM has been blocked, don't worry. You can have your number back and also get a whopping 5GB data as soon as you register with your Ghana card. Simply visit the nearest Airtel Tigo shop or agent today. Complete your SIM registration now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back to the City Prime News. In more news this hour, some legal practitioners have welcomed the nomination of Justice Gertrude Tokonu as the next Chief Justice of the country. In a letter to the Council of State, President Akufo-Addo nominated the Supreme Court judge, explaining that she is duly qualified and eminently fit to discharge the functions of Chief Justice. Justice Tokonu's nomination is subject to approval by Parliament. If approved, Justice Tokonu will be the third female Chief Justice of Ghana. Speaking to City News on her nomination, some lawyers say they expect her to improve the confidence of the citizens in the judiciary.
Well, I've appeared before her when she was sitting at the Commercial Court, High Court Division. And I see her as somebody who is strict and would uphold the law. But the test has always been when political cases that are against the government come before the court. That for me is the real test. As to what she can do, we only wait to see when she takes over office. But my expectations are that at the moment, the confidence in the judicial process is not the best. And so her first responsibility is to see how she can plow back the confidence in the justice delivery system. She must put in place some reforms which will bring back the confidence that has, as it were, gone low.
I think it's an excellent nomination to begin with. She has gone through the ranks as far as the judicial system of Ghana is concerned. She first started as a judge of the commercial courts when the commercial courts was established. She's one of the judges who manned the courts. She used to sit and think at commercial court B or F. I've forgotten exactly which one it was, but she was at the commercial court. And subsequently, she was promoted to the Court of Appeal. And then, after almost 11 years at the Court of Appeal, she was promoted to the Supreme Court. And now she's been made the Chief Justice. If you look at the work of a Chief Justice, it's an administrative position. And so given
You heard some lawyers sharing their views on the nomination of a new Chief Justice. Still on this particular subject matter, because the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAC, has set a bar for Justice Gertrude Tokonu, who has been nominated as next Chief Justice, to outrank current Chief Justice Enin Yeboah as the best Chief Justice with the issues of labor at heart. The association, which has welcomed the nomination, say the current head of the judiciary has performed better than any Chief Justice in the history of Ghana as far as the welfare of their members is concerned. Reacting to the nomination of Justice Tokonu, however, in an interview with Citi News, the General Secretary of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, Yakubu Abdullahi, indicated that their expectation for the next Chief Justice is for her to work towards eliminating any form of intimidation and mistreatment of their members.
At least as far as the current CPA is concerned, we are cool. The doors are open. She says, whenever you need something, look, you are cool. After when you need something, come to my office. I'll do it for you. And the support has been massive. That was why we gave him the honor as the most labor-friendly CJ in the history of the judiciary. And we are hoping that when my lady comes, when our mother comes, she's going to break that record. She's going to make her door open 24/7 for us to come and address issues of labor, issues bordering on our promotions, issues bordering on training and retraining of staff, issues bordering on disciplinary matters. When it comes up, at least members will be dealt with in accordance with the law and with some level of consideration. These are the issues some of the issues that we think is going to be done. If you look at the judiciary, sometimes we seem, though we are the third arm of government, we seem not to have the kind of support. Though over the years we've had new courts being put up, this edifice is there. But if you go to some courts in terms of logistics, in terms of certain financial commitments that are supposed to be released to the judiciary and other things, we seem to have those kind of challenges still existing.
Yakubu Abdullahi is General Secretary of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAC. Let's stay a while longer on this story and bring in my colleague in the Citi newsroom, Fred Tete Jabano. Good afternoon to you, Fred, and thank you for joining us on the Citi Prime News. Well, we know that President Akufo-Addo is making this nomination because the current Chief Justice, Justice Enin Yeboah, is retiring somewhere next month. But what do we know about this new Chief Justice nominee?
So, Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokonu is 61 years old. She was called to the bar in 1986. She practiced as a lawyer for 18 years in chambers including Fugat Law and Sozo Law Consult. In 2004, she was appointed to the High Court by President Akufo, where she spent 8 years at that particular court. During this time, she was one of the first judges to serve on the Commercial Court, which was established. In 2012, she was elevated to the Court of Appeal during the Mills Mahama regime. She spent 7 years at the Court of Appeal. In 2019, she had another elevation to the Supreme Court, where she's been there for the last 4 years. Justice Tokonu came into national prominence in 2015, where she was selected by then Chief Justice Georgina Wood to be the judge for the special court, which was created at the time. This was the time where Amir Anas came up with his expose on the judiciary, where about 22 judges were cited for some corrupt acts. These judges had to face a disciplinary committee. After the work of the disciplinary committee, they were suspended, and they challenged their suspension. It was during this time where Justice Tokonu was selected to lead that particular court. So she was the sole judge in that court, which heard all the cases, which came from 14 out of the 22 judges who were suspended. During this case, you'd recall that one of the judges, Judges Paul Derry, brought a contempt suit against Justice Tokonu during the hearings as the sole judge hearing those cases. And according to judges, the former judge, Paul Derry, Justice Tokonu had a calculated prejudice and contempt in the way she was handling the issue or his issue. He later on withdrew the case, and the case was, Justice Tokonu dismissed the case brought by Paul Derry. After the nomination, before her nomination, there were a number of people who had been mentioned to succeed Justice Enin Yeboah as Chief Justice. Before today, where we finally saw a letter to the Council of State. There were names which had been put around in the public space. We had Justice Yoni Kolendi, a private legal practitioner for many years, who was selected or appointed onto the Supreme Court. Then we have Paul Bafoboni. Paul Bafoboni is the longest serving Supreme Court judge as we sit now amongst the judges on the Supreme Court. So these were the two names, including Justice Gertrude Tokonu, whose name were bundled or put out within the public as people who were likely to be selected as Chief Justice. Today, the President has written a letter to the Council of State nominating Justice Gertrude Tokonu to be the next Chief Justice.
Very well. So this means that the nomination is actually a pending parliamentary approval, which means that she will be facing the appointment committee of parliament.
Per the constitution, what will happen is that now that the president has nominated, if all the processes are done from the judicial council through to the Council of State, what's next is that the name will be sent to parliament. When it's sent to parliament, Justice Tokonu would face the vetting committee of parliament. After the vetting committee does its work, it presents its work to the entire house, where a vote will be taken, whether she should be accepted or she should be rejected. But you recall that Justice Tokonu recently, in the last, I think somewhere 4 years ago, faced this particular panel again at the time she was appointed or nominated as a Supreme Court judge. And she made certain pronouncements as to how she expects the judiciary to be and how she would want the judiciary to look like. Let's take a listen to what she said at the time.
I recall that when I was in the High Court, there was a directive that we could stop robbing when sitting on civil matters. But the directive said when it comes to criminal matters, rob. And the explanation for it was that, you know, in the criminal jurisdiction, or generally in the exercise of our jurisdiction, you are exposed so much. And many people find it difficult to recognize a judge when your wig is off. So it's good it's a good disguise. But I do agree with you that when there's no air condition, when the air is not blowing properly, it's a difficult position to be in, wearing wig and gown and bib.
So what's your view on them? Do you think it should stay, or we should reform and move away from it?
I wish we could even wear African print rather than black suits.
So we had Chief Justice nominee Justice Gertrude Tokonu speaking during her vetting as Supreme Court Justice nominee in 2019, except from that vetting in Parliament 4 years ago. Well, but Fred is still in studio. Fred, I've gone through her CV, rich one, of course. In fact, she is going to be the third Chief Justice, female Chief Justice, if approved by Parliament, and also the third Chief Justice to be nominated by President Akufo-Addo since assuming office in 2017. But she's already been receiving endorsement from the legal fraternity.
Yes, you've had a number of people within the legal fraternity making their views known about her appointment. Depending on where you are coming from, the views are different. So in the voices we played earlier, you heard some of the lawyers and their expectations of the Chief Justice. Some people want more confidence to be built within the judiciary, where the citizenry could look at the judiciary and have the faith in the judiciary to take certain decisions which will be fair. So when it comes to lawyers, these are what they are looking for, that the judiciary would have a lot of trust. Citizens would trust the judiciary. In the past few years, we've had some concerns with trust for the judiciary. People, litigants and court users talking about how they feel sometimes the processes and how people take monies and the rest, and judges, corruption, everything, which doesn't give them trust has reduced their trust within the judiciary. You'd look at the people or workers within the judiciary, the judicial service, and their concerns are also different. Their concerns are with the welfare of their members, how their members are paid allowances, how they are treated. So they are also calling for the new Chief Justice, if appointed or confirmed by Parliament and sworn in by the President, to ensure that there's some fairness within the judicial service, workers within the judicial service treated properly and fairly. So it depends on where you are and where you are coming from. Litigants at the court also have a different view and what they want the judiciary or the Chief Justice to do. So if you look at the various factors and players within the judicial space, everybody is asking for a different thing from the Chief Justice or the nominated Chief Justice. But what we can say for sure is that once she's appointed or she's approved and sworn in, then we can really take a look at her activities, her plans for the judiciary. Now it's just going to be what people feel and what people think. But then when she assumes power as Chief Justice, then we can really, really judge her by what she'll do.
Well, our best wishes to her. But thank you very much, my colleague in the City Newsroom, Fred Tete Jabano. Eno, tell us more.
Away from the court, the National Communication Authority has assured the data safety of mobile subscribers within the central SIM registration database. Concerns have been raised about some breaches of data by industry watchers, but the authority says the integrity of the system is intact. Director General of the NCA, Joe Anoche, at a press briefing in Accra, gave the assurance and also announced that the over 11 million SIM cards unregistered will be deactivated on 31st May 2023.
Every active registered SIM in the current SIM registration database can be traced to a unique Ghana card. Every active SIM in the SIM registration database. And when I say SIM registration database, I'm referring to the central SIM registration database, not the individual SIM registration database that is held by MNOs. The individual SIM registration that is held by MNOs include those 11 million. Those 11 million. They are not in the central SIM registration database. They are not in the central SIM registration database. The central SIM registration database has 25,448,962, and these can be traced to 13,982,557 unique Ghana cards. Let me repeat. It's important to note that Ghana now has a SIM database that has integrity. Every active registered SIM in the current SIM registration database can be traced to a unique Ghana card. That was not the case at the beginning and onset of the exercise.
The NCA has also justified a directive to major industry player MTN to suspend its data zone service. Joe Anoche said MTN, which had been identified as a significant market player, breached regulations.
Now, so far, MTN has been in compliance with all the SMP measures. However, in January 2023, NCA took note of an MTN product called MTN Data Zone Bundle, a 24-hour data bundle which offered discounts of up to 35% for the various data. Some market players raised concerns about the predatory nature of this package. Consequently, the NCA engaged MTN and reviewed the products. It was found that for a number of price points, the MTN Data Zone Bundle was the lowest in the market in violation of the SMP directive. Also, the required prior approval was not obtained before the product was rolled out. Further, the license obligation of all MNOs to publish their tariffs, including the terms and conditions, was not adhered to in respect of this product. MTN was therefore directed to discontinue the product until such time that all violations have been remedied. After a series of engagement with the authority, MTN complied with the directives and the product was withdrawn on 5th April 2020. MTN has since submitted a revised data zone bundle.
We heard the Director General of the NCA, Joe Anoche. Now, the Cybersecurity Authority has indicated that internet penetration amongst the Ghanaian populace saw a surge of about 53% for 2022. On the back of this, the authority maintains that it has become imperative to guide and monitor the activities of the youth while enhancing the digital skills of students within the various senior high schools across the country. Speaking at the launch of the National Cybersecurity Challenge in Accra, the acting director of Child Online Protection at the authority, Efia Brown Aisen, said her outfit is committed to ensure that cybercrime amongst children is abated.
Internet penetration in Ghana has increased exponentially from 2.3 million in 2012 to 17 million users in 2022, which is 53% of the population. As of January 2022, Ghana was ranked third globally in the use of social media, an indication of the reliance of the population on the internet for various spheres of life, including education, lifestyle, business, and entertainment. Among the active users of internet are children, which, left behind, are often exposed to cyber attacks. In recent years, there have been several major cyber incidents that have significantly impacted schools and children worldwide. As dependency on digital technology surges, so does cybercrime. Cyber criminals are seizing every opportunity to exploit vulnerabilities against children, and children have been found to be the offenders in some situations. Equipping children with cybersecurity skills at this age is required to keep them safe.
You heard the acting director of Child Online Protection at the Cybersecurity Authority, Efia Brown Aisen.
You are still listening to the City Prime News on 97.3 City FM. Still to come, government launches 2023 Green Ghana project with a target to plant some 10 million trees this year.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Some call it the big red box. Others call it a treasure trove. Explore our range of furniture. Kitia Mall is a real wonderland with a fascinating experience. From the moment you enter, right through to the moment you leave, you will feel inspired. There's so much to see, touch, and feel as you walk through Kitia Mall. We are now open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day and 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sundays. Visit us today off Spinkters Road and explore our range of furniture and decor accessories that match your lifestyle needs.
With another big game on the horizon, the City Sports team is back with the EPL Roadshow. On Wednesday, April 26th, join us at the Cosmopolitan at Earl Bean Plaza, opposite the Fiesta Royal Hotel at 7 p.m. as Manchester City host Arsenal in a season-defining encounter.
And that is a goal worthy of opening the scoring in any Premier League
Will it
match.
be Thomas Partey and Arsenal, or will it be Erling Haaland and Manchester City with the bragging rights at the end of 90 minutes?
Oh, and the goalkeeper Sarah's passed it straight to Mahrez. Haaland for the hat-trick. Haaland scored the hat-trick.
Stop by after work. Let's enjoy some grills, drinks, and football banter with the City Sports crew. The EPL Roadshow on City FM is powered by the City Sports team with support from the Cosmopolitan.
Oh, that's a wonderful goal. Crossing now, 1-0. Well, it came from nowhere.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Thank you for staying with us here on the City Prime News. Let's bring you more of our stories now because government is targeting to plant some 10 million trees this year. The number represents a reduction in last year's target of 20 million. Launching this year's Green Ghana project, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo says several factors accounted for government's failure to meet last year's target.
On the maiden edition of the Green Ghana Day, we targeted 5 million trees. With your support, over 7 million trees were planted. Last year, we raised our ambition and targeted at least 20 million trees. Again, you supported us, and over 24 million trees were planted, bringing the total number of trees planted over the years to in excess of 30 million trees. So far, field assessment report shows that on the average, we had 72% survival rate last year, as compared to 81% in 2021. While adequate measures were put in place to ensure the survival of all trees planted, a number of external factors accounted for the survival rate, including rainfall patterns, wildfires, and soil fertility. Nonetheless, the survival rate shows that we still have some 23 million trees to nurture. It is for this reason that this year Government has decided to revise our target downwards to 10 million trees. This will give us space to devote some resources and attention to the trees planted over the last 2 years, while not losing momentum on our quest to restore our degraded landscape. It is the expectation of government that this year we will receive the usual massive support to build on the successes achieved in 2021 and 2022. We have also decided to organize this year's Green Ghana Day under the theme, quote, our forest, our health, end quote, to signify the importance of forests in our lives and to remind us of the many health and related benefits we derive from forests. On this note, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce that the 2023 edition of the Green Ghana Day will be held on Friday, June 9th, 2023.
That's Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo.
The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission says its preliminary monitoring report has revealed that 22% of the wage bill of 58 institutions is going into wrong pockets. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission on April 1, 2023 began a nationwide payroll monitoring exercise aimed at sanitizing the public sector payroll by identifying and expunging all anomalies. Speaking to Citi News, Director for Research, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Commission, Earl Ankra, said the exercise conducted in collaboration with the Internal Audit Department shows the country can save some money from the wage bill.
The detailed report will come out on that. Yeah, but exactly as the Chief Executive said, in preliminary work that we did with the internal audit, it came out clear that about 22% of the wage bill is going into wrong pocket. So if you could span it across the national wage bill, you could realize that looking at taking this one as a sample size, there's potentially possibly 22% of the entire national wage bill could be saved.
Earl Ankra added that the Commission will take steps to recover the said monies while also handing over some persons engaged in the fraudulent practice to relevant authorities for sanction.
We indicated strongly that for those in the situation where there are genuine errors, those errors will be corrected immediately in collaboration with the Controller and Accountant General's Department. But if it happens that these anomalies come as a result of fraudulent practices, people deliberately trying to pocket allowances and salaries that are not due them, they will be asked to refund. The Controller and Accountant General has given us some service accounts into which those individuals will have to pay. And if we to some of them, to a certain extent, we will report them to the appropriate authorities to take them up as criminal cases.
Earl Ankra is Director for Research, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission.
Moving on, the Jazz Foundation, in partnership with the Gbawe Kwate family, says the Alokoto Arts Festival and Health Walk, which will be an annual event, will be a platform used to market and portray the culture of the people of Gbawe. Hundreds of participants took part in the festival, which started with a health walk through some principal streets of Weja Gbawe. Founder of the foundation, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, believes the health walk will also serve as a form of exercise for both the young and old.
We are very much aware that health is wealth, and the core mandate of the Jazz Foundation and the Gbawe Kwate family is to see to the fact that the people within Weja Gbawe are healthy, and that's the main reason why we decided to have this walk. So it's not just a walk like Nidbawe indicated, it's a walk that comes with several health attendants. So we brought in a lot of medical practitioners who got in more than 70 of them, and they are looking out for several health issues. And we have a lot of medication to take care of that. We're also taking care of eye issues. We're also taking care of dental issues and even breast testing for breast cancer and supporting. And there is also the blood bank that is also available for people who want to donate blood. So it's basically what the Gbawe Kwate family and Jazz Foundation decided to do on this day.
Jerry Ahmed Shaib is founder of the Jazz Foundation.
Neglected tropical diseases including onchocerciasis, popularly called river blindness, trachoma, and lymphatic filariasis continue to be a challenge for some districts in the Bono and Ahafo regions. It is estimated that about 25 million Ghanaians are at risk of contracting one or two neglected tropical diseases. The government is therefore being urged to increase funding for the treatment of such diseases in the country. Citi News' Michael Sapong Mfum reports.
Neglected tropical diseases including onchocerciasis, popularly called river blindness, schistosomiasis, trachoma, and lymphatic filariasis, affects all 16 regions of Ghana, with an estimated 25 million Ghanaians at risk of contracting one or